Trying to. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to the Monday, May 7th, Select Board meeting. We will begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okie dokie. What do you got for manifest, Chris?
Make a motion to approve the accounts payable manifest of May 7th, 2018, and the payroll manifest of May 8th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor? Next.
I need a pen. Can I borrow your pen?
You postponed your approval of the April 9th minutes last time as well as,
Yeah, I sent her my April 9th ones. I had a significant number of changes on that.
Do you want to hold off on that one still?
did that,
If you guys haven't seen
you
them.
haven't gone back out, you haven't seen them since?
Yeah, I had a fair amount of changes on that.
I don't think she sent them back out.
I had some on the 23rd as well.
Yeah, no, I see the ones still with
Okay.
Chris Dawn's.
Okay, so we're gonna have to hold off on the 9th and the 23rd, because I had changes on the 23rd as well.
Okay.
So, Chris, can you make sure those get cleaned up and sent back out to everybody? Okay. Okay. All right, Chris, your report, tell us all the exciting news. Oh, no, boards and committees, sorry. Budget committee? Nothing yet? When are they meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Planning?
Did not meet 2 weeks ago, and I was on vacation anyways, so we're meeting Wednesday night.
Okay.
And there's, I believe we're reviewing the next round of review for a site plan that's under consideration right now.
Okay.
And I didn't read all of it, but there was something about the regulation change that was voted in 2017, but didn't actually make it on paper. That's a factor in this particular, yeah, so. That's about as far as I read into that.
Yeah, you
Jeff.
want to go
Yeah,
further?
yeah, go for it.
One of the, in the 2017 ballot, a few changes to the zoning ordinance were made by the town meeting, at the Tuesday town meeting. We published those changes, but missed one of them in publishing the revised zoning ordinance. So there was a change that was made by the voters that wasn't published. It wasn't in the document that we hand out or the document we had online. And that is,
Oh, in the zoning ordinances.
Zoning
So the
ordinances.
zoning ordinances weren't updated with the,
was a change in basically the septic setback. One phrase moved from one place to another.
the
in
building
one
envelope,
paragraph.
the classification of a building envelope.
And we published revised document or whatever. We had, it's essentially a typo, which wasn't done when we published it. We learned that in April of this year, that it wasn't, that we had the wrong thing posted. But there's a case that was using the old document to develop a plan, so we're trying to find our way through that, and that's the case that staff error.
But the clock starts when the planning board makes that change.
Yeah, in some context, yes. This is probably gonna end up being a question for the zoning board of adjustment.
That's probably what they'll have to do.
And they will be the judge of what is fair and appropriate in this particular case. I suspect that's what's gonna happen, but we're just sharpening our exact questions for council at this point.
Okay. That's it for boards and committees. You heard anything else from them?
No, not since you talked about it 2 weeks ago.
With, yeah.
No, but I think they're pretty clear on what they need to do.
Okay.
So,
Okay, all right. All right, town administrator report.
All right, so you were asking about Friday night. Friday night was a wildfire over off Lamprey.
Yep.
Dolph Dam was blocked by a downed tree and power line, so the fire department couldn't get to the fire in a vehicle. Had quite an adventure going overland on foot. Turned into, I wasn't there, but it sounded like it turned into quite a neighborhood exercise of residents and firefighters shuttling water and using Indian pumps and whatnot to
That's what I heard.
knock down a wildfire that chief's estimate was about an acre burned. It sounded like quite a workout.
It was quite significant. You might want to go on All Nottingham News and Information. Somebody did post pictures. It was,
It was the real thing.
sorry.
Yeah. But no structures.
Any idea how the wildfire started?
Down power line. Tree took down a
Plus
power
remember
line.
the
and
wind.
started
Oh,
fire.
and
Remember the
then,
wind?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was-
We had trees down all over the place
Yeah.
Friday night. You probably heard. I know of a couple of houses that were hit in town. Power outages were widespread, but relatively quick to come back. I think we had a couple of spots that might have hit 24 hours. So they had that Friday night. We had an untimely death in town. That was Sunday that was found. That early understanding or thought is that it was a overdose, probably fentanyl. And last night we had a big propane tank tip over in your neck of the woods on Bard area. We got through that okay, but it was leaking. It was big, like 500 gallons.
I did hear that hazmat was over there.
Yeah, so they had a busy weekend. Things are picking up, weather gets warmer, it does this every year. Park's not open yet, but all the other meatheads are out, so things get busier. While that was going on, 2 of our police officers got married this weekend.
Oh,
Tyler
congratulations.
Terrier and Nick Deskovich, not to each other, but to different women on different nights in the same place.
In the same place?
Yeah, they both use the same place.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
One of them's off to Mexico, one of them's back at work. Let's see. Saturday's Nottingham Day,
Earth,
Nottingham Earth Day.
yeah.
Be there, be square. Weather's looking okay. There's a lot going on. There's, I think I told you last time, 50-something vendors, fishing derby, road race. This is the attempt to regenerate that event. We came out of this 2 years ago and said this Nottingham Day isn't working. We got to try something.
Yeah.
So they were really throwing everything they can think of at it. They've got some support from volunteers and partner organizations that they hadn't had
Good.
I think they're expecting 50-something people to help out. So we're optimistic. This, if we can't get people to come to this, I don't know what we're gonna do for this event. This is, it's a whole new angle, so we're hopeful that everybody can come out and, at least stop by and check it out and spend an hour or so. It may not fill the whole day, but it's definitely worth a come by and check it
Yep.
out. Last thing on my list, we're starting to chip away at the cable franchise agreement that you have before you this year. The law requires that you do a public hearing at some point in this process. And I don't know if you want to do that, if you want to do just one, or you want to do it toward the end when you have a document, if you want to do it toward the beginning to see if there's any input, or somehow put the word out if people have questions or concerns about that. As we talked about last time, you can't negotiate rates and content. It's mundane stuff that is up for grabs. The fee that's added on to each bill that we use to pay for the electronics and stuff here, you might want to put some thought into how much we want that to be. I'll get you, before we get to that point, I'll get you a full rundown of what we've spent and what we're taking in. It's basically half of what that fee is set aside for school and town broadcasting capabilities and hardware, and the other half is just general revenue. It falls into the general fund like property taxes do. So there's the principles involved there. What do you want to tax in that sense, as well as the practical matters of what do we need to do to maintain this broadcast capability. We still don't have any idea how many people watch Channel 22. We're online with almost everything now, but just think big picture about that stuff as we get closer to that.
Yeah.
Can't they provide some metrics on that?
No,
No?
no, not really. We've asked. They don't. Yeah.
Even with, big question, technology, TVs now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
well-
they can track any other channel and who's watching what show at what
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
We'll definitely be
So that
trying
they
that
can-
again,
So they
but,
can advertise to you.
What can we in this, can we influence?
That fee structure, if we had major coverage concerns, that's, it's kind of a legacy thing from when cable was younger.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that we're getting the information we need to tax the poles and conduits and rights of way effectively. I think I have Bart's email right here about it. He mentioned one other thing that was in play. Not much is the bottom line.
Yeah.
I did read an article just about a week or so ago. I'll see if I can find it again. But I was reading that since the net neutrality regulations were repealed, a lot of towns and districts and whatnot, not just New Hampshire, but it's becoming common for towns to insist in their agreements that for their community, those protections are left in place.
Of net
for net
neutrality?
neutrality.
Oh, interesting, okay.
To keep the companies from speeding up some traffic, slowing down others, or slowing down everything in general, and making a surcharge if you want it back to normal.
And towns are being successful with that?
It didn't really say one way or another, but that it was becoming common for towns to stand their ground on that, so,
That's a good consideration.
yeah.
Franchise fee requirement that taxes are paid for occupying the public right of way, PEG access channel, this is channel 22, and coverage.
Okay.
That's the bulk of it.
And the fee that you talked about, that's the fee that, so they have their rates, it's the fee that we put on top. And they have no concern or control over that, right? They don't care.
I think it's entirely a pass-through.
Yeah.
I have to learn a little bit more about it, but that's
Yeah.
always been my understanding, is that
Yeah.
you come to an agreement with them about what you want that price to be, they add it onto the bill,
yeah,
funnel
yeah. But
Proceeds back to us.
is it us telling them what it's gonna be, what we want it to be, or an actual negotiation with them?
well, it's in that contract, so it's subject to negotiation. I imagine if you said you wanted it to be $20 a month, they would probably push back on that a little bit, because it's perceived as part of the cable bill to them.
Okay,
You know how you look at a utility bill, it's full of noise at the bottom, and
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
where that shows up.
Okay.
And I don't know how much ours is to your average subscriber, I haven't looked that up yet, but, I mean, the things to think about are, what do you wanna do broadcast-wise? Do you wanna continue to take more than we use for that purpose? We split that money in half right now. Just
yep.
big picture kind of questions.
Chris, when's it due? This fall?
September?
Yes,
I
I
think
think that's what you
yeah,
said.
And our attorney's got the old one and the proposed one from them. He started his review for technical and tax matters.
So, kind of going back to your question about, do we want to have a public hearing or public meeting, kind of in the beginning or in the end? I think it may be best to do something like before summer, like have, kind of, we'd have to, kind of be specific to what we can and can't, but if we were to have a public meeting, maybe do it in the June-ish timeframe.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably more productive to have a draft, or to know what we're thinking, right? Because otherwise, the conversation can go wider and broader than what the scope of it can really be.
Well, I'm thinking if we are clear in communicating, like, do you have any thoughts about this, this, and this?
Yeah, but can we do it from?
We can get input.
Can we do it from the perspective of, here's what we can do, right? Here's what our current thinking is. What other input do you have?
That would push us to like August, September, like.
Doesn't say you can't invite the public twice, once
Yeah.
at the beginning and once you have a draft.
Oh, I don't know what other folks think, but.
Okay,
It doesn't,
okay.
and I don't imagine there's a whole lot of interest in it, frankly. It's
Yeah, and there's not really much that we can
E-
do.
exactly.
But.
That's my only concern, is like, the conversation could go like this, when we have control over this. And then it can make us look bad because we didn't listen to what people said, when we really don't have a whole lot of control over how much can be done. But,
Or we can post something that says, if you have comments, please send them to us, and here are the things that are at play.
yeah.
Those that look at the website or newsletter or whatnot, play it that way too. All right. I think that is all I had for you.
Questions for Chris?
That fee, does that also get charged, the cable franchise fee, does it get charged to people that only do internet and not cable television?
I don't know.
There's a lot of people in town have DirecTV,
Yep.
like me.
It's a franchise fee, right? Is that what it's
Yeah,
classified at?
I don't know, but we'll find out.
I never looked at the bill, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
What do you have for internet?
I have Comcast for internet, but for television, we have DirecTV. It's just cheaper that way.
Well, check your bill and let us know.
Exactly.
We have the information, I just haven't got that far in the process.
Yeah,
I'm gonna send down one is an agreement with our police prosecutor. We haven't done that in a while. Same, Karen Springer's been doing that for a year and a half or
Yeah,
so, and
yeah.
they're just re-upping their
Yeah.
agreement at the same price. And I have a merit increase and an eval for one employee. And later on your agenda is a shuffling of seats on the Conservation Commission that's been requested, and you can tackle that whenever.
Yeah, I suspect we can move that up, because that should be an easy one, right? Unless you think someone's coming in for it.
No,
Okay.
we don't believe they are.
Okay.
basically what's happened is that
Schwab.
Raylene Shibby Rice is stepping down from her full seat on the commission, but would like to continue as an alternate, and
Crystal Costa.
Crystal Costa would like to take that slot. She has been an alternate, and would like to take the
She's
full
great.
seat.
She's fantastic, and I'm really happy to see her stepping up and getting involved.
So this is just for the chair?
That's just her, yeah.
Okay.
And if you want to do a quick vote on that and sign it while you're signing things, if you're all comfortable with that, then you can put that piece to bed as well.
Would we need a motion for each of these?
Yeah.
What's this back end stuff?
That's just a note
Oh,
from the
just
chairman
the-
asking you
gotcha.
to do that.
This one we don't need to sign, right?
No, no.
So wait, this letter says that Raylene Shippey Rice resigned as a member of the commission, but we're appointing her to it?
As an alternate.
She's resigning her full permanent position on it.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, I see that now, it's up here. All right. All right. So do I make a motion for each of these separately?
Do them all once.
Do it all at once, yeah.
All right. All right, I'll make a motion that we appoint Crystal Costa as a full member of the Conservation Commission for the term of May 7th, 2018 until March 31st, 2020. And also to appoint Raylene Shippey Rice as an alternate to the Conservation Commission, also for the term of May 7th, 2018 until April 1st, 2019.
Second.
All in favor? Just say thank you to Crystal for being willing to step up and fill in that position. She works for New Hampshire Lakes full-time. She's worked for our Lake Coast program. She's fantastic. I'm very, very happy.
Did you sign the one for Crystal too?
Oh, geez, sorry.
Did I get the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
One thing to sign too for renewing the contract or no? That was the first one.
Yeah, you don't,
That was
there's
just-
You don't have
enough
to sign all of it.
signatures on it.
Chris, unless you have something else, we can start the discussion on the priorities as well.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, just initial.
All right, screaming along. One of the things that's good for the board to do at the beginning of each new year is to kind of talk about what, you know, we want to have as our areas, kind of our priority areas for the year. And, you know, not that there isn't gonna be 100 other things that we're gonna focus on, but kind of like, what are the initiatives that are near and dear and important to this board that we wanna try to make some progress on in the next year. In the past years, I think it's been things like, making sure all of the bridges in town are, you know, in the condition that they should be in. We set goals 2 years ago, we did not last year for some reason, must have been Tyler's fault. But, but we do wanna try and do that again this year. I think Chris sent out an email to everyone with some of the things that Charlene had put on her list. They were, correct me if I'm not reading the right list.
Well, the ones that we ended up with 2 years ago was under the all. That's kind of what we had.
Well, that's not what Chris
identified.
sent out. That's what Chris sent out.
Well, that, didn't he send the attachment too?
No?
That was just my thoughts.
Oh, the attachment
There was
is
also an
there.
attachment, which goes
Okay.
back to 2016, and then included what we each had kind of identified.
So the all was 2 years ago.
The all was 2 years
Okay.
ago.
So that was Marston Energy, Route 4 property, 250th anniversary, CIP, biz dev, and responsible contractor language. So actually, if you look at that, I mean, Marston, we've made some progress. We've got some roadblocks there that we need to continue to move through. Energy, I'm assuming that was solar, was tied to solar.
Yep.
Route 4, boy, there's been a lot done there. 350th anniversary, on, you know, that's underway as well. CIP, you know, I think we've made some changes there. I think the discussion that we have to have this year is about whether or not this board takes it on, rather than having a committee. And the thinking there was that, there's been less participation in the committee itself, and now that we are a board of 5, we probably have enough cycles to take that on, but that's a decision we can address later. And then business development, I think that was more about like, how do we
Get more
How do we
business.
get more business?
On Route 4.
Yep. And then responsible contractor language.
That was, we don't really have, like, I think it was a template of contractor language that, I think you had proposed it, that we don't really have anything.
Specific that we use contractors, we should make sure they have insurance, and
Yeah.
we probably do. But
Yep. So, actually, that's pretty good. We had that list. We did make some good, we did make some good progress there. Some of it was forced on us, but.
Most of it wasn't.
Yeah, I know. So, does anybody have any thoughts, for this year? You know, again, I think it needs to be manageable, and not too tactical, but, I have a couple thoughts, but I'll let you guys go first.
Didn't we have some emails about this a few weeks back?
We've threatened to
Earlier-
talk about it a few times, but we haven't actually.
Yeah,
It
because
was-
I seem to remember I emailed like 3 or 4 bullet points as possible ideas for this, but
I don't think I remember seeing
I
one from
cannot,
you.
I
Yeah.
cannot find, yeah, I had some. But I don't remember if it went to everybody or just to Chris, and I'm,
Because I think we said send them to Chris.
Yeah,
yeah. I remember one of the items that I had put down was, reviewing the emergency lanes, coming up with a way to periodically reevaluate them.
that wasn't in the context of this,
Oh, it wasn't?
no,
So I'm thinking of something different.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. That's, that was noted, and we're gonna talk about that later tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, there's two things that jumped out to me, and the first is around the roads, right? And around, the prioritization, the planning, the management, the measurement of it, and, so that we know when we're doing, we have the data to support the decisions that we're making, and that we have the right prioritization. So to me, that's a big one. And then the other one for me was around, driven by this whole discussion about the retirement system. Just, a review of, I think wages-wise, I think for the most part, we're in pretty good standing, but just kind of like a review of where we are with wages, benefits, and what we need to do for future direction of retirement for employees so that we can remain competitive. So those, to me, those were kind of like the two top of mind for me. And personally, I'm okay with two, because to me, those are pretty big.
Yeah, the only other one that I would say is, which Chris has started to kind of, I think, lay some seeds out, is the Route 4 and commercial properties.
Yeah.
And trying to
Yep.
work with the planning board on some zoning changes. Which, I mean, that mainly falls on the planning board's plate, but just to kind of there may be some resources from staff that might need to assist the planning board with
So is that
Okay.
relative to the
Data.
USA Springs property solely or broader?
broader.
Okay.
Yep.
Wrote it down.
Okay.
Any other thoughts, you guys?
I'd like to see a little bit of modernization to our highway department, but I'm not sure if that's one of these things that we address now, or is that during budget time?
Yeah.
We already got approved for a new truck, and it's being spec'd out now, but personnel-wise, as they come on, granted, they got a fairly new building down there, but they don't have, all they have is a bathroom down there. There's no office, there isn't anything down there for them to conduct. When we bring on a supervisor down there, there's no place for them to really work unless you plan on housing them up here. Things of that nature, and, making sure we, there's one truck particularly down there right now that I don't even think it should be on the road. But, we're doing the best we can with what we have with the two people that are there right now, so, I mean, the other thing I was thinking of is that, I know the Ledge Farm Road was voted down, but, how do we go forward between now and next year? Because it's gonna come up again. To maintain that road. And I had brought up, talked to a few folks, and some things were raised as reclaimed pavement. It's much cheaper. You put down, it goes like cement, and it'll significantly reduce the dust, which seems to be a big issue with some of the folks on that road. So, I mean, we can look at it as dollar and cents versus, pavement is much more expensive. That's one area that I'd
Yeah.
like to see us try and tackle,
Yeah.
as well as modernizing our highway department.
There's not much we can do with Ledge Farm, right?
How much you wanna spend? I mean,
Well, when you talk about reclaimed pavement,
Yeah.
I mean, voters said no. Is that something that we can look at in the next year, based on, given that they said no, or,
I would be wary of putting it down this year
yeah,
because they said no.
right.
Doesn't mean we can't add that into the mix of solutions to,
Yeah.
Sure.
that's,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah,
that could very well be in the menu of choices for next year or,
yeah,
for the plan. I don't think we plan on doing much other than just trying to keep it together for the next year. I mean, we.
Well, and
can't
that's
do
where
that.
reclaimed payment could help that. It's not like true pavement, it's just, ground up payment you put down and, it holds the road together a lot better than what it is right now. I think that could go a long way with reducing the cost of sending out a grader, every month or every 2 months, however often they go out there. And, the dust is a big issue out there too, so, for a lot of folks, so that'll significantly reduce that as well. I mean, it's not gonna eliminate it altogether, but I think maintaining wise, I think, it'll go a little ways to improve cost.
I don't know enough about reclaimed pavement as a material, but where we have a vote that says you can't spend money to do that.
Yeah.
So that might be cutting it too close to.
Yep, no, I get it.
I don't, but it may be dramatically different, I don't know,
I think it's something that we just need to work on looking at over this year and make a decision whether or not we put forward to the voters another, a proposal, whether it be different or whether it be the same.
If we take the amount of money, like Ben said, we go out there every 2 weeks or whatever and say that, compared to maybe we get at least a quote on the pavement.
Yeah, and reclaimed pavement,
Reclaimed, yeah.
it's much, much cheaper, it's a fraction of the cost of, regular pavement.
I think the people out there would be probably thrilled.
And it still has the country feel, so to speak, it's not looking like true paved road.
so, when I talk about like roads being a priority, what I would like to see that look like is that as we get closer to budgeting season, that we have a plan, right?
That's
This
what
is-
we need.
This is our comprehensive plan, and that could include things like, here's what we think is the best approach for Ledge Farm, right? Here's the data that we have, but here's the data that we're going to continue to try to capture moving forward. And, currently, here's our prioritization. We know that, unforeseen circumstances could influence that, but so I'm talking about a really detailed, comprehensive plan is what I want to be able to go forward with in budget season and town meeting.
For roads in general, not just specific roads.
Roads in general,
Yeah,
roads in
a
general.
strategy.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, I agree.
So that's kind of why I'm like, let's not pick too many priorities, because to me, that's a huge one, Okay, so do we all agree that, kind of a comprehensive roads plan?
Well, I think definitely the roads, yeah.
Okay,
I mean, some long-term planning that's never really been done on the roads,
okay.
other than what gets put on CIP.
So the other one was, just an evaluation of personnel wages, benefits, and, the discussion about the retirement plan. Thoughts on that?
I think our difficulty in filling the director position has illustrated that we've got some weakness there. There's quality people out there that won't approach us, given the state of our benefits.
What are your thoughts on that one, Charlene?
On the retirement, yeah, I think we already
Okay. Right.
talked about that last week.
So then, those two, and then the further discussion and evaluation of, what we can do with Route 4 from commercial zoning standpoint.
Yeah, I think just as a resource to the planning board if there's info that staff needs to get done or something.
Okay,
I mean, I think Chris has provided them with some information, so I think just
Okay, all good? Awesome. It's an agreeable board tonight.
Short list.
All right.
Should have that done a couple weeks.
Good luck with that.
Short in width, but deep in scope.
Don't forget, Chris, the night's not over. The night's not over. All right,
And, I mean, we still got Marston, and we still got the 350, and so some of
Yeah.
those things are kind of, they're underway, but.
yep, yep.
Still in.
I would like a meeting with Joe Porter, Matt Kukachuris,
Kachukas.
and Tyler and myself to talk about Marston.
When?
Well, I just have Chris set that up. Okay,
I can do that.
okay. And Joe is representing NYA, is that true?
She's been helping on the grant front when we have targets for that.
Who's the president of NYA?
She is a co-president at the
Okay.
moment, I
She was,
believe.
I think she's gonna be done though.
She-
She had something at the opening day, I heard that
Okay.
she's stepping down.
Do you know who the president is now?
I forget his name.
Okay, I'd like to have that person there too.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome. All right, we don't have anything else left for public.
No,
Okay.
Was this discussed last meeting?
no. I got a little bit of feedback. This is the barn preservation.
Oh, yeah.
easement
Right,
Application.
right.
I sent you the policy that, you know, this is what we laid out, remember the last time we did it? And heard from one of you that said, yeah, go ahead with the process that we have, and that's what we'll do unless you have some other feedback.
So it's a public hearing.
Yep.
I don't remember doing a public hearing last time.
I don't think you did, because he didn't have a plan.
I don't think we got that far.
Okay.
I don't know, there was a public discussion about it.
Yeah.
In a
The
meeting.
applicant was here in a
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think we got to
It
the,
wasn't a hearing.
yeah,
Yeah,
we may not have gotten that far, but,
okay.
um,
All right, so you're gonna set that up?
yeah, we will proceed. There's some, yeah, yep.
Okay.
Do you know if he's got a good plan?
Haven't dug into it at all. Wanted to make sure we were all on the same page before
Yeah,
I
okay.
sent anybody on any wild goose chases or anything. I'll flush that out before we get,
Okay.
you know, too far into it.
So we've got two items from non-public. I don't wanna start I wanna take care of the 7:15 one before we go to the second one.
Yeah, that's fine. You can go into non-public at any time, and we can leave the door open and
Okay,
see who walks in.
Just about 7:15.
okay. All right, so we'll be going in under, let's see. Well, B is one of them, right? And, A? No. It's either B and A or B and C.
I'm gonna memorize these one day. A and B.
Okay,
Oh, no, not A. Oh, yes, A and B, sorry.
Okay.
A and B.
Make a motion to enter non-public session, under RSA 91A:3, section A and B.
Second,
we'll have a roll call vote.
I Bedford Rowlett.
Hi, Tyler.
I, Shelley Newsom.
Aye, Donna Danis.
I, Tony Dumas.
Okay, we'll be going into non-public, given that there's no further public discussion, once we come out of non-public, we'll be ending and closing the meeting at that time.